Well, hello and welcome back to our garden, and a very, very happy new year to you. And what a start of a new year. It's really nice and sort of chilly, and the sun is definitely warming my back up like that. But I've come into the cottage garden because I have still some spring bulbs left to plant. I have tulips, I have daffodils, there's some crocuses there as well. Because the order that I had placed had arrived late in the year, right before Christmas. Then we travelled away for Christmas. We were gone for a good week. And when I came back, obviously things got busy then again, and I want to get these bulbs into the ground. But once I have that done, I want to actually go back to the kitchen garden and do a really good harvest, the first harvest of the year of winter vegetables, and to get my very first Oca and Mashua tubers out of the ground as well. Now, first of all, I'm trying to get the tulips planted. I'm going to try to do them in sort of, I suppose, these kind of little groups. And I'm definitely going to try to also focus them to the sort of front half of this area, because I am hoping to get a bench here. So it would be nice to look towards them, not to have everything hidden behind you, but actually look towards the planting side and just bring colour and vibrancy to it. And I'm also hoping that they will naturalise a little bit more like this. Now, I don't think I'm actually planting them deep enough at the moment, but I'm hoping that the mulching will help after as well. It's going to create another layer on top of it. There's another tree in here, so where else will I put you? Will I pop you closer to the front? I can see the tulips in the pots are starting to push their leaves through. The winter has been really mild, so plants are starting to regrow quite quickly already. But I'll pop them in here. And while I'm getting on with this, I'll let you go and have a look at the unboxing, see what bulbs, what plants, what varieties am I planting out. Now, I've just come into the greenhouse just for a bit of shelter from a rain shower to do the unboxing of the bulbs. So this is from Farmer Gracy, and this is my very first order actually from that company. I've never ordered any bulbs or plant material off them before, and the way it got delivered and the way it's packaged and everything, yeah, it looks promising, looks lovely, and very happy so far. So we'll have a look what's in it. What have I picked? There's a lovely little envelope that's sealed up. What's in it? Oh, it's like a collection of postcards. How to grow, little booklets, very handy. And the summary of my order. Very good. Now, I'm quite sure that I ordered them around the Black Friday time, so that would have been in the end of November, and they got delivered just before Christmas. But because we were away for Christmas, I just left the box. I just opened just to see the box was full, that nothing sort of was missing. But as such, I did not do anything else with it. I just left it in our utility, which is the coolest place at the house, while we were away. And by the order itself, I should have had 6 different varieties of plants or bulbs. They're all actually autumn planting bulbs, and now we're early January obviously, and I still haven't planted them, but I will still plant them now. They're all nice and solid actually. I love the packaging as well. All of them in these kind of brown paper bags, really like that. And there's airing holes on the sides of them, and all the bulbs in them so far, in that particular variety anyway, which is the summer snowflake, I believe. Its own name I could not pronounce. But as snowdrops flower very early in the season, you know, even January, February. These would be more into spring, and they're way taller. They're much, much taller. They're up to 50 to 70 centimeters. They could be up to 2 foot tall. So these wouldn't be something that you'd put in front of a border like you would with snowdrops. So I had 20 of them. There's 555. So there's 20 of them, 25. So there should be one more packet of those. Nice healthy looking bulbs as well. So, and these would be fully hardy as a plant themselves, and they can naturalize quite easily. So you'd want to be ready for that as well. But no, beautiful set of bulbs there. Next one, so this was something I added just because I was placing the order anyway, and they're so dainty. They are so cute, beautiful purple colour, and these are just dwarf irises. Now these would be best probably for more like a rockery or a pot, again autumn planting. And I don't think I'd put them straight to the ground, because everything else what's here now, I'm not thinking of putting them into pots. They are going to go straight into the sort of planters or into the ground in the cottage garden. As this one, I think they'll get lost if I put them into the ground. So yeah, so I've only have 20 of them. Again, nice healthy bulbs, and you see they're way smaller. So yeah, maybe I will just do a pot up with them, just to have them planted into the ground. Next, crocuses. So these are just really typical mixed colour crocuses. They will naturalise really easily, and the colour variation, I want these to be sort of like a spring pop of colour. I did not really want them to be nice and pastel tones or anything, and the colour variation that should be inside this bag is anything between yellows, purples, whites, and they are definitely for the cottage garden side, because I want that side to be very much a spring garden as well. Oh, really nicely sprouting up, nice solid bulbs again. Only one packet of those. Yeah, just one packet, so 10 of them, so I'll just dot them around. But yeah, I do want the cottage garden side to be more of a spring garden as well, because that is sort of the time of the year that I tend to be around that side of the garden most. So next one is something I already have in the garden. I have it in the Fruit Tree Guild in the kitchen garden, and that's a Narcissus tete-a-tete. And these are just the happiest little, again, really cute, short height daffodils. And they're just such a beautiful pop of colour, real full-on spring vibes. And yeah, I love the look of them. Now, they're also beautifully like clump forming, and they're fully hardy, they're perennial. And I hope that's the case with all of the other bulbs now so far that I've looked at as well, that they would be hardy, that I don't need to replace them, I don't really need to look after them. And yeah, but the pops of yellow, it's just with the daffodils, especially when they're like more dwarf height. So these bulbs are a little bit brownish around the edges, but and there's a couple that are slightly softer. No, I don't think there's any problem with any of them. So again, really much bigger bulbs, much more like the summer snowflake size of a bulb. So I've gone through 4 types of plants now, and I had 6 ordered. So all that's left now are tulips. And with tulips, I actually went sort of, I kept it really simple. I just went with 2 choices. Now both of them are mixed, so there is going to be a good sort of variety of colours. But one is just a standard single tulip, a Darwin hybrid type, and then the second is double one. So I do like double flowered tulips quite a bit. Height for both of those types should be the same, so about the same height actually as the summer snowflake So they go up to like 2 foot in the height. All of those, they could be grown in pots as well, but I want to put them into the cottage garden. I'm thinking maybe actually I'll use some of these in the rose garden as well, just in front of maybe the climbing rose and around the lavender, where I, at the moment already have tulips coming up, so maybe some of the daffodils or crocuses could go there as well. It's just a thought. So that's double mixed and tried mix. How many we ordered? 60 bulbs of each of them. Double. That's bright. Right there. So all are there. So double variety first. And these wouldn't be fully sort of naturalizing. They are perennial, but they, if you get 2-3 years out of them, I'm hoping they would still naturalize a little bit. Color-wise, this is a really happy, positive sort of collection of colors, and it goes very much in tones of everything else that's already there. So you'll have pink, yellow, orange, red and white. So anything that was between the daffodils, the crocuses, the summer snowflake, and what else? Oh yeah, well, I had the iris, but I'm not sure, like as I said, I probably put them into the pot so that they don't go sort of missing. And the other variety is the pride mix. So this should be much more of a naturalizing variety. Perennial naturalizing, so it should come back year after year. Color variations a little bit more pastel-y or softer, not as vibrant, and there should be pinks in it, reds and purples. I don't think it's too late to be planting them in early January. The weather has been very bizarre anyway, and it's much better to do it now than leave them in the bags and not actually get them into the ground at all. Now I'm just going to move away quickly from ornamental side, because there was another type of a bulb I had ordered before Christmas, and they arrived before Christmas, and I checked them and they're all okay, and I left them in the same way as I did with the Farmer Gracy order. But I'm after checking that again, and there's a little problem with it. From a great company actually in Ireland, it's Gardens for Life. They have their own YouTube channel as well, where they talk about their produce and introduce new plants all the time. So this is a Jerusalem Artichoke, a sunchoke order that I had placed. I had 2 different varieties, and one of them is still looking absolutely perfect. This is a white truffle variety. And these are perennial and naturalizing edible tubers that you would be harvesting at this time of the year. So they'll be another great source of food for sort of the winter time, really. And I do have to pick carefully where I'm going to plant them, because once they get a good drainage and soil, they will just keep spreading out. So I want to make sure that if they keep spreading, they don't spread to areas that I don't want them to go through. But so this one packet, absolutely perfect, and I probably should have left it open like that, because the second packet is not looking so good at all. What I think what might have happened is that one of them or 2 of them have gone rotten inside here, because there's a couple of bottom ones that are perfectly solid and they don't have any of this fungus on them, as the others at the very, very top are totally mush and sludgy, so I wouldn't be touching them. Let's see if I can actually get them still out of the bag. And this second variety is called Red Fusau. There's just a couple of them that are quite good looking. I think they've gotten frostbitten as they were being harvested out of the ground. One of this one now, otherwise the tuber is really nice and solid, but the top is all squishy. and rotten. Now that might still grow though. And then I had 7, I believe, yeah, 7. So 7 was ordered. And out of the 7 now I have 1, 2, 3, let's say. 3 that are okay. So I might just get in touch with them and ask them if there's any way at all that they could send me a few extras as a replacement. But at least it's not 100% gone yet. I got to them, but yeah, most of them are very, very squishy. But I won't be planting the sunchokes until like March or April anyway, so I'm in no panic with them. But I just have to keep them in a frost-free environment and safe and away from any kind of vermin so they don't come and eat them. But these things do happen, and I've dealt with them before. One of my Yacon varieties is from them as well, and so far the service has been absolutely excellent. So it's just one of these things that I'd say the November frosts have gotten to some of them as they were in the ground, but you wouldn't have seen it until, because they would have been packed and harvested and packed very quickly and sent out. But yeah, so that's the collection of the autumn planting bulbs that I had, and yeah, better get planting now. Snowy keeps zooming past me because he can't figure out which direction I threw the ball, but I threw it into the orchard and he can't find it obviously. So he's being so anxiously running around me. I hope you all have had a lovely holiday season, whichever way you might celebrate it. We went away to Estonia to visit my family, and we definitely had a lovely time. Now there was no snow this year in there, but it didn't dampen the spirits. What I had forgotten about though, how dark it was, how much shorter the days are in there. You could hardly make 6 hours of daylight out of it. But we visited Talon's Christmas market right before Christmas as well, so that got us all into beautiful festive spirit. But just any kind of break really is good. It's just really, really important. And that's why I think in January I don't really garden that much. Well, first of all, usually the ground could be frozen. Like even here now, the surface is still totally frozen. Luckily, because it's mulch, I can pull that aside, and underneath that soil is okay. But you could have snow down. It's just the weather is not favourable. I suppose as much as I try to do is get the seeds of peppers and chilies sown so that they'll get a head start, but just because their growing season is so long, and just place orders for new seeds that I need. And this year I definitely want to take a note of every cent I spend. Do you find it? No, still not. On garden. I do want to see how expensive it will end up being by the end of this 2025 year. Oh, thirsty work. Very thirsty. There's a rainwater puddle on the plastic that's otherwise covering up that side of the planter to stop the weeds from growing, but the wind has blown it off. But it's a handy place to drink from now. So, get these in. So I'm just finishing up with the tulips here, and because of the tete-a-tetes, the daffodils and narcissus, I have way less of them, but they would just become these kind of a small pops of yellow in amongst. And then I've also left one bag of each of the tulips for the rose garden. I actually will pop them in there as well in the planters, and just to add a little bit of colour, maybe even up to towards the walkway area as you're coming through the garden. So I'll just finish up with the tulips here first. Right, I have the tulips and daffodils planted now. I didn't do the crocuses yet. I will put them, I think, in front of the climbing rose. And then the summer snowflakes, I'm thinking of probably having to dig like a trench at the back of the cottage garden and place them more towards the background of them, the rest of the plants, because it is going to be a little bit taller as a plant. Now I've come over to the kitchen garden now though, and we're at the Oca and Mashua bed. So in here at the moment I was just quickly looking, because some of the foliage is starting to regrow, because we just got that bit of a mild spell between the frost in November, frost and snow in November, and now up to this point where we're having another sort of cold spell. And I caught away some of the foliage earlier in, I think it was early December, that just had been sort of lopsided on the walkway area, and I just put it on top of the existing foliage here in the planter as a mulch, as a cover, as a protection. And on top of that, now I had also a bit of just bird netting on top of it, because I do find that is giving a good nice insulation for these kind of a freak colds as we were away. But I'm just looking at it, it's amazing, like the foliage was so intense here that there's no weeds at all to be seen, and it's quite easy to establish where the plants are. So there's one plant here and another plant here, and I just want to take a little bit of it from here, because like I have the Mashua climbing up on the trellis here as well, and I know I will end up going into some of the Mashua tubers, so I'm thinking of taking like a slither out of here and just to see how the growth has been. And I'm really happy with this planter, how it looked like during the season, how the plants were growing in it, because last year I did try them in pots while I was figuring out where to plant them, because they are this type of plant that they would be quite prolific if they like the place, and inevitably, the same as with potatoes, if you leave something behind, it will start regrowing. So I just wanted to have a more of a like concentrated or focused spot for them where they can grow away happily, and they are just so stunning. Oh, I love the coloured ones. They are absolutely my favourite from the look of them, even though I find the white flavour better, or there's a nicer flavour out of the white ones. But these, yeah, they were growing away, romping away inside here. And why I'm especially happy with their condition, or the plant's condition as they were growing, is that this planter here is sort of in a wind tunnel, so not everything wants to grow here. And Oca so far has done well. I can see there's slug damage on it, but there's plenty of those beautiful coloured nuggets coming out of it. And I still have a whole tray of tiny little tubers that I dug up last year. There, look at that. They are just stunning. Absolutely beautiful. And spotless skins on those red ones at the moment. Tiny little ones that came out of the pots. And I said I didn't want to just throw them willy-nilly into any other space. I wanted to make sure that I know where they're growing out of. But those tiny ones have been growing away, well, putting out shoots in the fridge. So there's plenty of starter material ready to go into ground as soon as, I suppose, spring arrives. Oh, I'm delighted to see now there's lovely harvest coming. I'll bring you a little bit closer to here. And there's nothing too special about this planter, otherwise the soil is just a nice loose soil. There's a good drainage out of it because it's a raised bed. Things that I did feed it as I was planting it, so I'm sure that it appreciates a bit of a fertility as well in the soil. But look, it's just they keep coming, and I definitely would put a protection on top of this soil layer again, because I don't want the frosts to get to them, because it's not frost hardy. The tubers would get damaged by it. Now last year I did not get any great harvest from Mashua because I first of all tried to harvest it too early. But look at these guys here. Like, how stunning are these? They look so similar to Oca, but this is much more of a trailing plant, as climbing plant. There's a lot of small ones here. I'd say I could even use them as starters for next year again. Like, they are just beautiful. Much bigger in here than the Oca soil, but the Oca here beside it. In Oca I have probably 3 or 4 different colour schemes of them. As the Mashua, there's only one of them. So there's a size difference. These are nice sized Ocas. They're still like, one of them on the palm of my hand now. So letting this plant climb and let it grow as much as I've allowed it to grow here now has definitely helped it. And as I'm on this side of the garden, I just want to see if there's anything out of the parsnips as well, because I had a terrible germination with parsnips last year and I re-sowed them. There's nothing in that one. And this is my carrot bed that I've been always very, very happy with. Now I can see, okay, yeah, there's one in here. I just didn't want to take whatever was there before we went on holidays. Oh, well, this was carrot. Well, a fine carrot at least, but that's a carrot. I didn't even look at the sun shining into my eyes. No, that's not a parsnip. Well, that's parsnip leaves, but there's no parsnip underneath of it. So I'll just let it grow. This is another carrot. I could have left this to go seed actually. There's a bit there. Now this is actually beautiful. This is actually a really beautiful carrot. Absolutely perfect still. The frosts, once it's a free draining soil in our climate here in Ireland, it doesn't really do much damage inside the soil, unless we got getting some extreme low temperatures. But yeah, that is a carrot to be proud of. I'm always happy with this planter. So maybe there's parsnips at the other end there. No, so there's some leaves in here that are dead. Is there anything? Okay, yeah, so there's definitely a parsnip underneath here. So that might be just the one and only. Plenty, especially, oh, okay, yeah, no, I think there's going to be plenty out of that one, especially with the Oca and Mashua harvest as well. So let's pull this fella out. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm trying to push down on it as well to make it a bit easier, but oh, it's a whopper. It really has gone deep down. Oh, he's coming though. Oh, nice. Oh, I can see it. There's canker in there a bit, just from the wet conditions, but otherwise, what a whopper. Oh, there's some weight in it as well, actually. That's a really substantial weight. That's nice. Yeah, no, the germination this year just was not, sorry, last year was not great at all. There's some more little baby carrots there, and onions are coming up, but I'll just put the carrot next to it. That's the big carrot, that's the smaller carrot, and that's the parsnip. That is lovely. And also we have to look at some potatoes because I can see fresh growth out of 2 pots. And I've no label on those pots, so I don't actually exactly know what they are. And I don't think I've ever emptied it. I don't think they're like some remains of some tiny potatoes that stayed behind that have started to regrow. So these 2, we'll put the Oca and Mashua next to it as well. And but before we'll actually go and get the potatoes. Now, on a slightly different note, before we go back to our vegetable side, this is for anybody that really enjoys to see what our hens are up to, and obviously I do like them to free range and join me here in the gardens as well. But unfortunately there are 2 hens that aren't going to be joining us for this gardening year. So first in October, our OG matriarch Goldie passed away from health complications, and I know I didn't actually mention it anywhere. It happened quite quickly. And now Coco. So unfortunately Coco would have been in one of the very last footages as well. She passed away right after Christmas. We hadn't even arrived back from our trip yet. And both are buried under a beech tree on the field. So they're around the flock area. So pot number 10, pot number 2, and it's not one of the main crops because they are all stacked here. So just in case these are still secondarily Duke of Yorks or Charlottes, I'm not sure. It's one of the other. They're definitely not main crops, so they'd be a second earlies. I have a feeling it's a Duke of York rather than Charlotte. See, there's plenty of potatoes in here, which is great. I'll get a tray and I'll bring the other bucket beside here as well. So yeah, these are all ready to grow now because of obviously the dark pots. They draw heat to themselves, and as I said, it's been so mild anyway, so the temperature in the soil has risen enough. So I think this is an amazing harvest. As Mashua goes, I think it was about 3 plants worth, and the same with Oca, and I ended up getting 3 colours, 3 different colours, because I know in the planter as well, I just put them in about, I don't know, 6 inches apart or so, and there was plenty of space for them there. absolutely with the Mashua, definitely to give it something to climb up on. So fair play to whoever commented on my last year's video on the Mashuas and Ocas and things, where I didn't give anything to Mashua. I didn't know what to do with it. The trellising definitely has worked, and I'm really, really happy that overall that planter has worked for both of the plants. And I also had sweet peas growing through it during the summer, which gave it a beautiful floral display. Mashua's flowers are coming in much later in the season. I think I saw even flowers on it. Beautiful, these kind of orangey trumpet flowers in December. And Oca's flowers are these tiny yellow flowers. And again, late in the season, because that's where the plant puts the most growth into itself. So great harvest. So as you see, the sun is going down. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hit a like or subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and hopefully we'll see you next time.